Your plane just turned into a 200-ton metal coffin plummeting toward the Pacific Ocean at 500 miles per hour. The pilot's voice just cracked like a teenager asking someone to prom.
What are we doing? Why would I trim down?
The flight attendants are gripping their beverage carts like they're holding onto their last paycheck. And that lady in 15F who spent 20 minutes complaining about the stale pretzels, she's now calling every god she can remember, including her horoscope app. You're 7 hours into what should be a mind-numbing 15-hour slog from Los Angeles to Manila. Somewhere over the middle of absolutely f***ing nowhere, Pacific Ocean edition. The nearest land is so far away that your GPS just gave up and started suggesting underwater restaurants. Oh, and that comforting airplane hum you've been ignoring for the past 7 hours? Yeah, that just changed from gentle white noise machine to mechanical death scream. The plane's diving like it's auditioning for Top Gun, but instead of Maverick, we have Captain Panic Attack, who sounds like he's reading the emergency manual for the first time, ventilating into a paper bag over the intercom. Now you're probably wishing you'd actually looked at what plane you booked. Congrats, you got the infamous Boeing 737 MAX, where MAX stands for maximum pain. Welcome to the mid-air emotional roller coaster you definitely didn't sign up for, rookie. Can you survive a plane crash? Watch time will tell. Hope you've got the brains to make it out alive. Just let me reload the simulation. Name's Patch. I'm your survival instructor, and I'll keep you alive just long enough to properly mock your terrible decision-making skills. Here's your situation, rookie. You're stuck in seat 14B on a Boeing 737 MAX. Middle seat, middle of the plane, middle of nowhere. You've got your trusty fanny pack with your passport and nail clippers, whatever's in your backpack at the overhead bin, and about as much control over this situation as that emotional support dog in 12D has over his crying owner. The plane's doing its best impression of a suicidal seagull, diving toward the Pacific every few seconds before the pilots wrestle it back up. Something's seriously wrong with the aircraft systems, but hey, at least the in-flight entertainment is still working. You just left the rear bathroom when this mechanical temper tantrum started, which means you're currently standing in the aisle like a frozen statue, while 200 other passengers are having varying degrees of existential crises around you. The good news? You're not strapped into your seat yet. The bad news? This plane is about to turn you into either fish food or the star of a very depressing episode of Lost. Time to make your first survival decision, rookie. The plane just did another one of its adorable little nosedives, and you're standing in the aisle swaying like a drunk penguin trying to figure out which way is up. Everyone around you is having their own personal meltdown. Captain Mayday is back on the intercom, and this time he sounds like he's trying to order a pizza while gargling mouthwash. Meantime, this is your chance to upgrade your seating situation while everyone else is losing their absolute minds over what's probably just some aggressive turbulence. Time to make a move, rookie. Standing in the aisle during the next mechanical hiccup is going to turn you into human bowling ball, and these armrests don't look particularly forgiving. What's your brilliant plan? Option F, casually stroll up to first class and claim an empty seat. And first class has got to be safer, right? Option S, head back to your assigned seat 14B by the evacuation exit. Buckle up, pull out your Steam Deck, and continue your Pokemon game like a responsible adult. Option J, stay at the back near the rear restroom. Honestly, the lingering smell from your bathroom shit show featuring post-bean salad airplane meal is still more tolerable than listening to Karen from 14A explain why this is definitely the pilot's fault. Choose fast. F, first class. You stride up to first class like you own the airline. Grab a champagne flute from the cart because if you're going to experience mechanical failure, you might as well do it with some class. Then slide into that buttery leather seat. The seat's a dream. Wide, sleek, stuffed with more buttons than a spaceship dashboard. First class luxury, champagne in your hand, ego in the clouds. You're so dazzled by the leather and free booze that you forget the one thing that actually matters, buckling the damn seatbelt. But hey, why worry about flying hiccups when you've got bubbles and bragging rights? Then the plane hits another dive. Except this time, it's the big one. Your champagne goes flying, and without that seatbelt, you meet the armrest with the enthusiasm of a demolition ball. Congratulations, rookie. You just learned that fancy leather seats don't come with magical crash immunity. Physics doesn't discriminate based on ticket price. S, emergency exit. Smart choice, rookie. You head back to your assigned seat 14B and settle in. The exit row gives you that premium legroom experience, and you're just about to pick up your Steam Deck and reach for your seatbelt when you hear a sound that definitely wasn't in the safety briefing. A loud crack, followed by a whistling noise that sounds suspiciously like the world's most terrifying tea kettle. Turns out Boeing 737 MAX planes have this adorable feature where doors can just pop off mid-flight. The access door next to your seat just decided to take an unscheduled vacation, and guess what? You're invited to join it. You, Karen, and your Pokemon-filled Steam Deck are now experiencing the joy of free fall at 30,000 feet. Jay, back of the plane. You slip toward the back like a ninja avoiding responsibility. And honestly, it's peaceful back here. Just you, the lingering aroma of your bathroom adventure, and significantly fewer people having emotional breakdowns about what's probably just turbulence. You buckle into an empty seat and watch the chaos unfold in the forward cabin like you're watching reality TV. The first class section is in complete meltdown. People are screaming, crying, and one guy is still trying to get the Wi-Fi password from the flight attendant during an emergency. Then you hear it, a sound like the world's most expensive can opener, followed by explosive decompression. That emergency door near the middle just said, "Screw this," and yeeted itself into the atmosphere, taking a few passengers along for the ride. The plane's still doing its periodic nosedive routine, but from back here it feels more like a slightly aggressive massage chair with quality AC than a death machine. Here's your survival lesson for the day, rookie. If this thing actually goes down, you just picked the statistically safest spot on the plane. Here's your crash course in aviation survival math. Passengers in the rear third of aircraft have a 40% higher survival rate than those in the front. The tail section is your best friend in most crashes, because it's farthest from the initial impact zone and usually stays more intact. But we'll save the rest of that cheerful math lesson for later, assuming we all live long enough to need it. Well, well, well. Look what just dropped from the ceiling like the world's most important party favor. Those yellow oxygen masks are dangling in front of your face, and Captain Stroke is back on the intercom sounding like he's gargling gravel while reading his own obituary. The cabin pressure just took a nosedive faster than your faith in Boeing's quality control. Here's where things get interesting, rookie. Half the passengers are fighting over oxygen masks like they're Black Friday TVs. The other half are taking selfies with them, because apparently near-death experiences are very Instagram-worthy these days. Meanwhile, that emotional support dog from 12D is having a full existential crisis while his owner tries to put a mask on him. Captain Whoopsie just announced we're making an emergency water landing near some uncharted Pacific island, and he's saying it like he's a tour guide announcing an exciting travel adventure detour instead of, a potential death sentence. The cabin's somewhat stabilized, but this plane is shaking like a paint mixer at Home Depot, and you can practically hear the metal deciding whether it wants to stay attached or take an early retirement. Time to make the decision that determines whether you become a survival story or a cautionary tale with really bad reviews on TripAdvisor. What's your next step, rookie? Option U, sprint back to the bathroom. Think about it. It's a small, enclosed space with walls on all sides. Basically a survival bunker with better lighting and still warm seats since your last visit. Option I, help the elderly woman across the empty seat who's having a severe asthma attack. She's turning blue and can't reach her inhaler with those arthritic hands. You can help her first, then grab your own mask, right? Option A, grab your oxygen mask and assume the crash position. Duck your head between your knees and hope that staring at your own crotch won't be the last thing you see before meeting your maker. Choose fast. You, bathroom bunker. You sprint to the bathroom faster than a kid running to the ice cream truck. The door slams shut behind you, and you wedge yourself into the tiny space, thinking you've just outsmarted physics and engineering. Here's your crash course in aircraft design, rookie. Bathrooms are essentially metal boxes with no structural reinforcement, positioned in the weakest part of the plane. When this plane hits water, your survival bunker is going to fold like origami in a blender. But hey, at least you'll have privacy during your final moments. Who doesn't want to die in a flip-over porta-potty? I, help elderly passenger. The elderly woman sitting across the empty seat next to you just started wheezing violently. The panic triggered a severe asthma attack. With her arthritic hands, she desperately tries to pull out her rescue inhaler, but the plane lurches and it goes flying, sliding under the seat in front of you. Still buckled in, you ignore your dangling oxygen mask, and you lean forward and stretch to grab it while the plane jerks around. By the time you reach for your own oxygen mask, hypoxia has scrambled your coordination. Your hands shake, your vision tunnels, and you collapse before getting it properly over your face. 20 seconds of awkward heroics just cost you everything, and there's no guarantee her frail, arthritic body will even survive the next thing both of you are about to experience. A. Crash position. Smart thinking, rookie. You secure your oxygen mask first, and just as you're getting it positioned, you see the elderly woman's inhaler go flying far away under the seats ahead. You'd help, but you did your math. By the time you unbuckle, chase down that tiny thing, and help her use it, you'd both be unconscious from hypoxia. Instead, you assume the crash position, strapped in tight, arms protecting your skull. The awful taste of guilt sits heavy in your mouth, especially while you're weirdly staring at your crotch. The plane hits the Pacific Ocean like a 200-ton meteorite with commitment issues. The impact sounds like someone just dropped a skyscraper into a blender. The Boeing 737 MAX breaks apart on impact like a cheap toy meeting a concrete floor. The cockpit and first-class section, loaded with all that heavy avionics equipment, immediately nosedive underwater and disappear faster than your father when you were 6. The middle section of the plane is twisted like a pretzel having an identity crisis. Half of it's above water, half below, and the whole thing's filling with smoke from electrical fires. Meanwhile, the rear section, your section, caught the best break of this whole disaster. It's the highest part above water and structurally intact, but don't get comfortable. The whole aircraft is in deep water, about 200 yards from the island shore, and it's all going down eventually. Give me a thumbs up if you're still alive, rookie. Here's where 68% of aviation fatalities actually happen. Not during the crash, but in the fire and flooding that comes after. You can survive the impact, but you can't survive staying in a sinking, burning aircraft. You need to get out before this metal coffin becomes either your submarine or your crematorium. The rear section where you are is filling with water, but you're not alone. There are other survivors around you, but you can't save everyone. Time to make a choice that determines who lives and who dies, rookie. Option D, help the trapped veteran. He's a muscular guy in his 40s, clearly ex-military, and his leg is pinned under debris. Option M, help the desperate mother. She's frantically searching the wreckage, clearly looking for her baby. Option R, help the injured kid. There's an 8-year-old trapped under fallen debris near the rupture exit. Choose fast. D, the veteran. You rush over to help the veteran. He's built like a tank, and you figure once he's free, you'll have the strongest possible ally. His leg is pinned under twisted metal, and he's gritting his teeth against the pain. He asks for help getting the debris off, promising he can get you both out. You try to tell him you need to leave now, but that's when something switches in his eyes. The stress, pain, and rising water trigger something deeper. He's having a full PTSD flashback, thinking he's back in combat.
Fuck on, Mace! We're all in fucking ass! I put the tank here 15 minutes ago.
You both drown together, him reliving his worst nightmare, you paying the price for your hero complex. M, the mother. You wade over to the woman frantically tearing through wreckage. She's screaming her baby's name and throwing debris around with manic strength. You shout that you need to get out, but she's not listening. She spins around and strikes you across the face, screaming that you can't make her leave her baby. Here's your survival lesson, rookie. A desperate, adrenaline-filled mother has the strength to lift cars off children. You just learned this the hard way. Her maternal instinct just doomed you both. R, the kid. You splash over to the boy trapped under debris. He's maybe 8 years old, tears streaming down his face. You reassure him and lift off the debris. You ask if he can swim and he nods. The rupture in the rear section is your exit. The water is rushing in fast. You tell him to hold your hand and not let go. The current tries to pull you back, but you're both small enough to navigate the twisted metal. Amazing what happens when you help someone who's actually capable of being helped. You both surface outside the wreckage, gasping but alive. Well, well, well. Look who made it to paradise. Pacific Crash Edition. You and the rest of a small group of survivors are standing in crystal clear water. The sun is shining, and there's a beautiful tropical island right there. Too bad this isn't a vacation. It's a survival situation, and room service just got permanently canceled. Let's review your performance, rookie. You started this flight thinking you'd be binge-watching movies and complaining about airline peanuts. Instead, you just survived a Boeing 737 MAX malfunction, a water crash landing, and a real-time lesson in why aircraft certification matters.
Oh my God!
Your decision pattern tells a story. You wisely chose the back of the plane in Phase 1, giving you the best statistical survival odds. You went with the proper crash position in Phase 2, which literally saved your life during impact. And you took the wise and easy choice to help the boy in Phase 3. You followed the basic survival rules. Stay calm, make simple decisions, and don't overthink when time is critical. But here's the reality check. You're now stranded on an uninhabited Pacific island, roughly 2,000 miles from the nearest shipping lane, and the best thing your fanny pack can offer is nail clippers. The good news? Tropical islands usually have fresh water and edible plants. The bad news? You're about to discover what long-term survival actually means. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see part 2 of this story and find out what happens when you're stranded on a deserted island with limited supplies.
Why did we crash? I was sleeping. I don't know what happened.
Questionable survival skills, and people that come with charisma issues and unknown motives.
Does anybody know where we are?
On a deserted island.
All right, rookie. Confused about those random option letters? Here's the deal. Gather your 3 choices in order and drop the code in the comments. Do that, and I'll roast your horrible survival instincts personally. And if you want more random survival scenarios like this, where I watch you make spectacularly bad decisions, hit that subscribe button. One week it's a plane crash, the next it's plague, nuclear meltdown, or full-blown zombie nightmare. Around here, the only guarantee is chaos. Stay safe. Patch out.